Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam ya ITM di hatiku dan salam Melati Mubarak Sri Kandi berwibawa. Yang berusaha Profesor Madya Dr. Nur Aizam binti Adnan, Principal of Melati College. Yang dihormati our honorable guest Mr. Omar Karyum bin Hamdan and Miss Nur Suraya Batrisha, Miss Alia Batrisha binti Dor Iskandar. Yang dihormati Encik Amira Hudin Jamaluddin, Head of College Resident Staff and also Program Advisor of Are We Ready program, Ms. Dayang Nurul Nabila binti Syamsul Bahari, President of Melati College Representative Committee 2022-2023, Ms. Nur Suraya binti Ahmad Wazni, the Program of Are We Ready Forum, College Resident Staff, lineup of Melati College Management Leadership of the Melati College Representative Committee, Sri Kandi Melati, and all participants. First and foremost, I would like to thank our respected Mr. Omar Batrisha for lending their precious time to share their knowledge with all of us. I would also like to thank everyone for allocating their time despite their busy schedule to attend this forum. So ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome you to Are We Ready Forum by Majlis Tertinggi Jawatankuasa Perwakilan Kolej Melati 2022-2023. To bless our ceremony this evening, let us start by reciting the Ummul Kitab Al-Fatihah. Amin, amin, ya Rabbal Alamin. Next, I will hand over this station to Ms. Nur Suraya binti Ahmad Mazni, Program Director of Are We Ready Forum, to give a welcome speech. With all due respect, welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you so much, Miss Atira. Yang berusaha Prof. Madya Dr. Nur Aizam binti Adnan, Principal of Melati College. Yang dihormati our honorable guest, Mr. Omar Qayyum bin Hamdan and Miss Alia Batusha binti Nur Iska. Yang dihormati Encik Amira Hudin Jamaluddin, Head of the College Resident Staff. Miss Dayang Nurul Nabila binti Syamsul Bahari, President of Melati College Representative Committee 2022-2023. Dear College resident staff, line-up of Melati College Management, leadership of Melati College Representative Committee, Sri Kandi Melati and all participants. Alhamdulillah, I am very grateful for being given the opportunity to give an opening speech for this program. First of all, I would like to congratulate all the members of Implementation Committee for successfully running this Are We Ready program. My dear audience, this program was organized by Majlis Tertinggi in purpose to give an exposure regarding endemic phase that has been announced starting from 1st of April. Since the beginning of this pandemic phase, as everyone are informed, it has caused a lot of short-term and long-term impact on the nations around the world, including education sector in many ways, such as also education sector. We can give an example such as physical classes and examination have been fully switched to online classes and examination. It was not easy to everyone, I believe. Then after 2 years living with pandemic, we are now entering the endemic phase where there will be started to have physical classes again. And some students are excited to be back with their friends again. Plus, this endemic will improve the teachers' quality and ability to create an excellent positive learning environment for students. However, I believe there would be problems for some people to adapt with this new phase again. Therefore, we are here today with two great panels, which are Mr. Omar Qayyum and Miss Alia Batusha, to give exposure and some advices about the current situation. Ladies and gentlemen, before I end this speech, I would like to congratulate once again the organizing committee for successfully run this program tonight. On this occasion, I would like also to wish everyone here good luck for your future endeavors, and I'm certain you will achieve everything you work towards, inshallah. Therefore, I will end my speech today. Thank you so much, everyone. Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Ms. Nur Suraya binti Ahmad Mazni, for the speech just now. Ladies and gentlemen, our ceremony would not be complete without a speech from our college principal. Now, it is a pleasure to invite and welcome Professor Madya Dr. Aizam binti Adnan to deliver her speech. Welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good day to all. Yang dihormati, our honorable guest for today, Mr. Omar Qayyum bin Hamdan and also Miss Nur Alia Batusha binti Nur Iskandar. Yang dihormati, Mr. Amira Hudin Jamaluddin, Head of the College Resident Staff and also Program Advisor for today's program. Miss Dayang Nurul Nabila binti Syamsul Bahari, President of Melati College Representative Committee, Miss Nur Suraya binti Ahmad Mazni, our Program Director of Are We Ready Forum for today, dear Resident Staff College, line up of Melati College Management, leadership of the Melati College Representative Committee or JPK, Sri Kandi Melati and all participants. Alhamdulillah, I am very grateful for being given the opportunity to deliver an opening speech for this program. First of all, I would like to congratulate all the members of the Are We Ready program committee for successfully planning and conducting the today program. My dear audience, as announced by Malaysia Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob on 8 March 2022, starting from the 1st April 2022, the endemic period will begin with the borders opening, operating hours restriction for business drop, physical distancing for Jemaah prayer removed and others. However, the usage of the face mask will still remain, especially for indoor or closed condition areas. Since the beginning of this COVID-19 pandemic, it has caused a lot of short as well as long-term impact on the nation, not only for Malaysia but around the world. One of the sectors that also impacted by the pandemic situation is an education sectors. Education sector has been impacted in many ways, such as school closure, physical class cancellation, implementation of online classes, and many more. By implementation of the endemic period, there will be less online classes, and students hopefully are happy to be back and meet their lecturers, classmates, and also their fellow friends face to face instead of through online connection only, as experienced before by many students. In addition, hopefully the endemic period will improve the teaching and learning quality and ability to create an excellent and conducive learning environment for students. My dear audience, before I end this speech, I would like to congratulate once again the organizing committee for successfully organizing this program today. On this occasion, I would like also to wish all the students, especially Melati College students, all the best for this semester, and hopefully all of you will get flying colors result. I pray that all students will always be healthy and can and able to enjoy this campus life, campus life session for this semester. That's all from me. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
A million thanks to Professor Madya Dr. Aizam binti Adnan for her welcome speech. Before I invite our panel to begin the forum, it would be appropriate for me to explain a little bit about the background of our panels today, which are Mr. Omar Qayyum and Ms. Alia Batrisha binti Noor Iskandar. Starting with Mr. Omar Qayyum, he is a Bachelor of Law student in International Islamic University Malaysia with an experience in leadership by taking a position in a club and conducting program alongside winning numerous competitions. He is a Vice President of Asian Law Students Association International Islamic University Malaysia, also IIUM. In 2021, he was awarded with Best Delegate Award for Asian Students Youth Dialogue Competition 2021. Next, Ms. Alia Batrisha, currently studying a MAC Civil Engineering at University College London. She is one of the Students Ambassador for 2021-2022 at University College London. She was awarded Outstanding Cambridge Learner Award, top in the world in the marine science. And not to forget, Miss Alia able to speak in 3 different kind of language, which are Malay, English, and Chinese fluently. So, before that, hi Mr. Omar, how are you doing today?
Hello, I'm good. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you, Mr. Omar. Great to have you today. So next, welcoming the one and only Miss Alia Batrisha, who is currently in London. Miss Alia Batrisha, how are you today?
Hi everyone. Yeah, I'm feeling good, but I'm currently in Warwick instead of London.
So, Miss Ala Batisha, if you don't mind, can you share your current situation right now? Whether or something that you face right now?
Yeah, sure. Actually, I just finished my exam, which is I finished my first year in UCL. So right now, I'm currently on holiday. So I visited my friend at University of Warwick. That's why I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for letting us know both of your current situation right now. So, and it is not late for me to wish both of you and everyone there a happy Hari Raya and Maaf Zahir and Batin. So, without further ado, let us begin our forum with the first question. So, can Mr. Omar and Miss Ala elaborate the step of preparation you did physically and mentally as a student before entering endemic phase? Let's begin this forum by hearing from our first panel, which is Mr. Omar Koyo. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I think, yeah, for the first questions that been delivered, can you elaborate about the steps and preparation you did physically and mentally as student before entering the endemic phase? And in Malaysia specifically, we all know that since 1st May of 2022, we've been entering endemic phase. So I think for me personally, from International Islamic University Malaysia, IIUM, I've been entering campus ever since before we enter into endemic phase itself. And I think that physically there's nothing much of difference to be made, but I think it's more to the preparation of the necessary stuffs for classes such as shirts, books, physical books, I mean, and also hostel necessities. And I think the most important part of preparation to enter into the endemic phase itself is for us to make sure that um, to reschedule back our programs, our events, our classes especially, because as for me, I think like during the pandemic phase, during everything was online, I think everything I had back to back, meaning after one class I had another meetings and then I had another class. So it was all back to back. But it was only doable when it was fully online, and I don't think it's relevant now. So I had to cancel some of my plans and stuff and try to make things better and schedule things better now. And another one, of course, to always reset your mind every time we finish one program to make sure that we are mentally stable and capable of doing another job. Yeah, I think that's all from me for the first question.
Thank you, Mr. Omar, for the answer just now. It was a very interesting preparation that you prepared before entering your campus. So next, Miss Alia Batrisha. How about you?
Thank you. So I totally agree with what Omar said just now. I have additional points would be for me personally, I have to prepare myself physically by sleeping a lot so that I get well rested before I start my class. And for the mental preparation, I think this is my first year. Before this, I went to A level college. So, uni and A level are totally different things. So, what I did was I tried to figure out what was my learning style because going into uni, there's a lot of independent learning. So, I have to figure out what do I prefer actually because I would not want to be influenced by other people's method of studying or like get carried away by others. So, I have to stand on my own and I search for my own learning style. And I prepare myself by having like Notion so that I can rearrange all my uni stuff into one place. My lectures, my notes, my everything, my plan, my diary and everything in Notion. So it was a very good preparation for me because I use Notion a lot and it helped myself to be more organized and get to know my modules before I enter because every modules have their own specification. Just like what I said before, this is my first time entering university, so I had to prepare a lot in terms of understanding what is it about uni actually, and then that will help me a lot in terms of mental preparation.
Thank you, Miss Alia and Miss Omar for letting us know your current preparation. So, moving on to the second question. What is the difference made by your university before and after academic phase? And what is the teaching method that is applied by your university? Mr. Omar Karyum?
Oh, it's me again who's going to start this question. Okay, so for question number two, I think the difference, of course, since we're entering endemic phase, it's more to the physical stuff that being held in the university itself. And as an example, in the law faculty of IIUM, especially, we're going to conduct, by the Law Student Society, of course, they're going to conduct a forum by an invited speaker from University of Malaya regarding the topic of women trafficking in Malaysia. And it will be held physically. And I think that's the most obvious difference that we can see when we're entering endemic phase. And yeah, I think that's the obvious one. And aside from that, I think the teaching method that being applied here in IIUM is hybrid. I don't know in other campus in Malaysia, but in IIUM, for law faculty specifically, we are doing for hybrid method and yet to be fully physical. But most of the tutorial classes, such as when we had to present, when we had to do presentation, when we had to do some quizzes, it's all physical. But most of the lectures are being held online, and I think somehow it's better that way, because when it's held online, there are recordings that we can use to study back, to learn back, and have our own time at our own pace to study all the recordings and materials needed. Um, yeah, I think that's all for the second question. And before moving forward to the next question, I think I've forgotten to wish everyone Selamat Hari Raya, Maaf Zahir Batin. And yeah, then I think it's better for us to move to the third question. But before that, yeah, Miss Alia, I guess.
I think before that, Selamat Hari Raya as well. Just like in Malaysia, I think in the UK we apply the same teaching method, which is hybrid. But especially for engineering, most of the lectures are being done online. But for tutorials, workshops, labs, or experiments, everything we are physical. And what I understand is that next year we will be moving on to like fully physical, because every students are expected to be in uni next year. But for this year, some of the students are still having online classes from their own countries. But what I know, not every uni in UK actually um, apply this hybrid method. Some of them are still fully online, so they don't have to be in United Kingdom this year. For example, Durham. So it depends on the uni that you go to United Kingdom, that you will experience different type of learning method. Right, for University College London, which is my uni, we have lectures recorded, and just that some of the workshops are not recorded. So people who actually currently overseas, meaning that they are not in London, they will be sent a separate recording, but only for them instead of for everyone. Yeah, because they want us to attend the workshops and classes. I think that's all.
Thank you, Miss. How your university running during the academic phase? And I'm pretty sure, that I can conclude that most of the university in this somehow university or at College London or IIUM, they're using the same method with hybrid teaching method. So next, for the third question, how did you socialize with your friends, classmates during pandemic, and what advice should be taken by introvert person to start socialize again with their friends after 2 years staying at home? Mr. Roma?
All right. I think during the pandemic, my way of socializing have been very, very limited. Because yeah, of course, it's through the due to the restricting order and stuff. But online means are always available for us, such as FaceTime, Google Meet, Zoom calls, or even WhatsApp calls, WhatsApp video calls, right? And even if it's not a video call session or video calling session, I think like an audio call would be sufficient enough for us like to communicate to one another with my friends or relatives. And I think that even during this pandemic situation, most of the online meets have been how should I say this? Like they have been transitioning their premium facilities to something that accessible to the public. As an example, I think the Zoom calls or I'm sorry for the Google Meet. Last time it was the limit for the participants to enter into the Google Meet was around mm 50 participants only. But due to the pandemic phase, Google has, I mean, they have make it accessible for the public to make a meeting, which can cater around 100 participants at most. And I think like these facilities are actually making things easier for us to communicate and of course to conduct events and stuff, right? So as for advice to introvert person to start socialize again with their friends after 2 years staying at home. First and foremost, I think like I am not the right person to give advice to introvert person, but I think like I've asked my friends before when we entered into the endemic phase. I've asked my some of my friends who are they're introverts sometimes and they may not be that extroverted enough. Um, I've asked them like how would they feel, how they'll be experiencing when they are physically meeting people, and collecting their views, opinions, and ideas. I think like I can conclude some of the advice to be given, and I hope like this would be beneficial for almost everyone. First and foremost, is for us to find the circle that we are comfortable with, meaning that we are comfortable to talk to, we are comfortable to go to, have our meals to together and stuff. So when we have our circle that we're comfortable with, of course, there are so many things that we can face together. And secondly is to make sure like to recharge yourself, to make sure that your social battery is enough to entertain people, like to ask questions, to communicate with people. And I think like the most important part before we engage with people is to take care of ourselves, to make sure that we're enough, that we are having the sufficient amount of energy to I mean it's to mainly to entertain people, to talk to people. And last but not least, this would be the basic, the most practical stuff for us to do is like to join societies, organization, and programs that we are interested in. And this would also include sports. And I think like as an example, archery, footballs, and stuff. When we have the similar interests, the other people who have the similar interest with us would also join the same organization, the same program, and from there, due to that common interest, we would be able to make friends with other people, and by that we get to meet new people and make friends with others, even after 2 years staying at home. Um, yeah, I think that's all. But of course, I think above all, everyone is more than enough for what they have. So if you think like you don't wanna socialize with people, you want to sit and complete your work, please by all means. But of course, there would be time that you want to socialize with person. Yeah, that's all.
Actually, it was very challenging for introvert person to start socializing again. So Mr. Omar advised to all of us to find the right circle to start social life with your friends. Okay, so thank you so much, Mr. Omar, for giving those advice and hopefully they will implement them well. So Miss Alia, I will pass the floor to you now to give your great advice.
So this is a very interesting question actually. So how to socialize with friends other than what Omar has mentioned, which is the Zoom call and everything. We have a lot of games online, and I can see that even if we don't meet physically, we spend a lot of time doing stuff online together. For example, we have, I can't remember what was the platform, but there's actually a lot of platform where you can play games, not real games, just like bonding games. Yeah. So I think that's how me and my friends actually keep in touch with each other. And Discord was one of the best method to actually connect with them, which is you can go on to Discord whenever you want, and you can go off. But realistically speaking, during pandemic, it was a lot of things going on. So I think most of my friends kind of like went offline for a while because everyone was like having issues on their own, and only after everyone was more stable that we actually talk to each other. And I would like everyone to understand that it is okay to take your own time to actually go offline or whatever that you want to recharge yourself, just like what Omar said. And for introverted person, I agree with Omar that I'm not the best person to talk about this, but what I observe from my friends is that they might be introvert, but if they are consistent doing something, they will eventually make new friends. Because this is my first year in university, so making new friends is definitely the challenge, especially for the introverted person. And living in the United Kingdom, the students population are very diverse, and the diversity sometimes makes you feel insecure, anxious to make friends, and sometimes uncomfortable. So my advice is that be consistent. And what I meant by being consistent, if you the type of person that like to spend time doing sports, then go to the same sports maybe weekly, and then eventually people will be familiar with your face. And even if they don't have the courage to talk to you, they will start to be comfortable with you. And that's the first step of like making friends. Make them feel comfortable with you because you're always there. And if you're the type of person that always go to the library, if you go to the same library, you will meet the same people that actually go to the same place. So, for example, if you're the type of go to surau people, and you will meet those people, your people. And that is what Omar said by finding your own circle. And how to find your own circle is do the things that you like, and you will find the people, your people. So, but being consistent is a bit hard if you don't take the first step, which is I just talked to one of my introvert friend. She said that the first step is not actually being consistent, is but to get out of your room. Meaning that being introvert normally make people feel to actually just stay in the room because they don't want to socialize. They just want to spend time with themselves. But if you ever feel like making new friends, the advice would be go out from your room and go somewhere consistently. Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Alia. I believe it will be useful for those who really need the advice. So, Miss Alia again. May we know that a tablet and iPad is a must-have device in your university?
So, speaking from engineering student in University College London, I feel like it's necessary because we have a lot of lab experiments, workshops, a lot of calculations being done. And for me, iPad really helped me in terms of like studying, but it depends on the course as well. Another thing to consider for me here is that the stationaries, meaning that the pens, the books, the highlighters, everything is so expensive. So I just can't afford to have like physical notes that much. So my iPad actually very, very helpful. If I were to not have iPad, I have to carry all of my laptop everywhere, and my laptop is quite heavy. And if you have if your lecture actually provide you with a lot of printing stuff, meaning that the lecture notes are all in printed form, it'll be very helpful. But the problem is everything for my lectures are online, and they just put it on the university website and just have to download it. If I were to print everything, it would be so expensive because, for example, one paper, if you print it off, is like £1, and £1 is like 5 ringgit. It's so expensive. So that's why for me personally, gadgets, iPads are very, very helpful for studying. And drawing, it helps me a lot with drawing as well. I have to design stuff in because my course is civil engineering. I have to design a lot of stuff, and iPad drawing is very, very useful. But for other unis and other courses might not require it that much. I talked to my friends, my Warwick friends. She's taking accounting right now, and she said iPad is not necessary because everything is like AC method, and then the lecture notes they can just read it online. They don't really have to like edit, or what do people say, jot down stuff and relate it. Yeah, so that's all from me.
So, Mr. Omar, how about IIUM? Is it necessary for the device for the students right now?
Thank you. I think the right word to 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 replace the word necessary would be supplementary. It's just it's going to supplement us when we study. Of course, I think since we are entering into the endemic phase, some classes are transitioning into physical platform, physical classes. Some of them are still online. So I think like it's kind of hectic if, as an example, in IIUM, at 8 a.m. we will be having an online class, and at 9 p.m. we'll be having a physical class. So it would be something to rush to. So by having an iPad, it would be convenient for us. Like maybe we can just wait in front of the library, wait in front of the class by just holding the iPad, listening to the online lectures before entering the physical class itself. Yeah, I think like it's convenient for most of the student, and definitely for the students who are having this hectic schedule would opt for this portable gadgets such as iPad and tablets. And for law students specifically, there are so many readings to make, cases, and some of the statutes can also be accessed through PDF online. So it would be so much of a cost saving to make if we can just get it from online, get it from the internet and read it through. And of course, there are certain books, such as law books. Some of them even exceed 500 ringgit Malaysia for us to purchase, and it can also be we can even read it through online for free. So by having this portable gadgets, it would be convenient for us to read through online. However, I think like this would be a safety clause to make for this question. I think like it's important to emphasize that it is not necessary. If you have the means, yeah, please go and grab it. Go and grab the iPad, tablets with the Apple Pencil, with the all the stylus pen and stuff. But if you're not capable of having one, if you're not capable of possessing one portable gadget, I think like laptop alone is sufficient enough for you to do your readings, for you to do your works, for you to do your assignments, your writings. It's sufficient enough, and do not make it something to be stressed about for you to have the iPad. Just because your friend has an iPad and it seems like, oh, it's so convenient for him or for her, to do their works, to do their readings, doesn't mean that you need to have one too. And yeah, you can do it just through your laptop. And also, I think it would save some cost and also environmental friendly lah, because there would be less printing and we can just have it through online. And I think, yeah, that's my POV.
Right, thank you both of you. And I would conclude that actually iPad and those kind of device is actually depends on the students itself, right? So when you have something that, oh, this iPad we can use to a backup with our laptop, so we can buy, or students need to have one of the device, including or excluding those kind of thing that need to display the note or something else. So would both of you mind to share your opinion about online examination? Which one do you prefer? Physical or online examination? Mr. Roma.
All right. I think I would prefer online. It's not because that you can discuss with your friends or stuff. No, it's not because of that. I think mainly it's because as a law student there are so many readings to make, and if it's physical, you even have to memorize them. Even for the as an example, for some cases, if it would be an evidence or yeah, an evidence when you write your answers to your questions, right? I think like um, some of my seniors told me that even the name, has to be correct, and meaning that Abdullah, if it has double L, it has to be double L. If it's only single L, it would be wrong. Your evidence won't be accepted. So I think that it's so not practical for us. I don't know how my seniors did it. I don't know how my seniors done it before, but I think like I cannot afford to do it now. I maybe sometime in the future if I had to, I will. But for now, I'm comfortable with online examinations, and I think it's more practical. The questions are somehow more to evaluate these situations. They will give some hypothetical situations, and we have to evaluate the situation rather than just asking what are the elements of blah blah blah. What are they? It's so theoretical and not practical. So for now, I think it's more practical. Um, Aside from that, I think it's much more um, easier for me because it's typing. Most of the online examinations are we can just type rather than handwritten answers. They give us options here. You can either type or handwritten, but I always opt for the typing because it's not time consuming and it's convenient for me overall. So I think I would definitely prefer online examination.
It is subjective question, I guess. So Miss Alia, how about you? Do you prefer physical or online examination?
If he has a lot of law stuff to remember, I think I would have a lot of formulas to remember, because in engineering we involve a lot of formulas, numbers, and I love online examination for the reason that it's open book and you don't have to memorize all those formulas as well. It's more about the application part. But certain modules have changed, meaning that they changed the question um, to a level of difficulty that is like somehow for me it's not right, because if we compare the past papers, which is the physical ones, with the current online examinations, the difficulty level are so different. And I feel like if you were to go back to physical only for that module, it's doable. But since right now it's more like application and the time that they gave us is very short for something that should be done in few days, it's very difficult. So I'm kind of like um 50-50 with the online and physical. Because if we were to physical, the exams difficulty will not be that difficult. But if we were to do online, the expectation is much higher. And even if the university said that there should be no colliding, meaning that we should not communicate with our friends about the exam, but us as student, we will still do that, and that create a huge difference between the people who actually discuss and people who don't discuss. So what happened to the result, the you can see the difference between those two group of people. So I think to make it more, how do people say, um it's gonna be very very difficult because our marks are being curved, meaning that being put on a graph. If we are below the average, even if our marks are high, we will be put, we will be given like a lower marks. So this will create another set of, what do people say, problems. So if it were physical exam, it is very fair and it's the same set of questions that we have to face. I think there will be a bit of fairness there, because if we were to do online, some modules give us different set of questions and different difficulty level, which is not fair. Yeah, I think I'm like 50-50 with the physical and online examination.
Okay, thank you, Miss Alia. So, the next question, what do you think about hybrid classes? Is it helpful and effective to the current situation right now?
Okay, it's me. Sorry. I just want to know the current situation you mean the endemic phase, right? Yeah, all right. Okay. So I think personally it's really helpful and effective with the endemic phase. I think it's because mainly it's because most of the people here, especially in Malaysia, we are still traumatized with um, the coronavirus, you know. We're still like scared to go out without wearing masks, even though the government has said like it's okay to not wear masks, but everyone still wear their mask. And for people who like don't really wear their mask, they will be judged or have some skepticals against them. But I think like this hybrid classes would actually train this kind of people. Sometimes that also includes me to be more flexible and adaptable to the to the current situation where we are transitioning into the endemic phase, and there are so many things that we are trying to get back to our normal life, to get back to the normal physical activities that we have always done before pandemic ever existed. So I think that's the first POV, and the second one is I think this is the some preparation needed for us as students. We need a proper plan to enter into these hybrid classes programs. Why? As an example, before I gave you um, for the first hour, there would be, as an example, physical class. Suddenly it's online and then physical back. We have to plan our schedule properly so that we bring our devices, we bring our laptops, we bring our iPads when it requires us to um, attend the class online, but we can also be at the faculty, be in the class if it requires us to attend the class physically. So I think a proper plan is required for us to get into these hybrid classes, and of course, above all, to answer the question, I think it's helpful and effective with the current situation.
Okay, next. How about Miss Alia?
Okay, so I personally love the hybrid class for the reason that we have 4 seasons here. So during winter, it would be so cold for me to go out. So if I have online classes, most of it are online. So I don't have to go out and it saves a lot of money. I don't have to like pay for the transportation fee and stuff like that. So I love online classes. So in currently what we have is that we have only the compulsory things that really require interaction physically. We have to be there. So I personally feel that saves a lot of time and energy. You don't have to go out and socialize with other people unnecessarily. So I love hybrid class, but at the same time hybrid class actually some kind of like cause a bit of like on the management stage. I think this is the problem. On the management stage, they arrange it to be very very close, just like what Omar said. Some of my classes are clashing, meaning that I have 2 online classes at the same time. I open one on the right, one on the left. So it's really really kind of like makes me feel this is not fair, because the other class involving other engineering students, so they can't really make changes to it. Another one is for my own department, so I have to make time for both and balance out myself. And for me, is it effective or not? I think it is. For example, my class have a lot of recordings, and especially difficult subjects like fluid mechanics or like structural mechanics, we can still go back and watch the recordings. So it wouldn't really cause me a problem if I don't remember what the lecturer said. But some of my classes, such as solar mechanics, they don't have recordings, and that somehow cause problem. Even if it's hybrid, I still wish that it has recordings. I think recordings is the reason why people love online classes. They still can go back and look at it. Yeah. That's all.
Yeah, for the recording we can repeat, and for what we already forget, we just repeat the recording, right? So, Miss Alia, did you just say about the closed schedule? So how do you guys overcome that kind of problem where the schedule are closely, and what do you guys do after that?
That's a very good question. um, for me, I actually have my own like planner, which is I mentioned it in the beginning. I use Notion. So in Notion, I actually have my own timeline. If I were to choose either this or that with my schedule, I would see if either one of it I have to give up, because I can't really concentrate if there's 2 things. So if one I can learn by myself, I will let that go and focus on things that I have to listen for me to understand. Meaning that this would fall under the category of prioritizing which one we need the most. And in terms of other my management, in terms of things that I have to do, would be make your own plan. The timeline that you have to finish one thing. There will be a lot of deadlines back to back. I have designs, I have drawings, I have professional skills, I have a lot of things to do. So instead of following the uni timeline, I make my own internal timeline, meaning that I have to finish this by this time so that I can proceed and focus on other things. Because my course is one of the course in UCL that heavy on both coursework and lectures and exams. Even our exams are 70%, and we have more coursework than other courses. So what we have to do is that most people tend to actually focus on the coursework and ignore the studying part, because we only have one exam during term 3. But because of this method, during term 3, they have to stay up a lot to catch up with the studies and lectures. So what I did was plan, meaning that not to focus much on my coursework. I give my best, but in a shorter amount of time so that I have more time to study as well. So yeah, that's all.
Okay, Miss Alia, since you're taking civil engineering course, may I know that your university handle the students that have to go to the workshop or lab during the endemic?
Um, I can't really hear your question. Was it like, can you repeat?
Since you are taking in civil engineering, so
Mm-hmm.
what kind of method in your university to handle this kind of course engineering? They have to go to the workshop or heading online during the endemic phase?
It depends on student population that is currently on campus. If there's a lot, they do it physically. If there's not, they will record the lab. This is kind of like weird, but they record the lab, they give you a result, and you interpret it based on the data that they gave you. So if we were to do it physically, we will have to generate our own results. But right now, they gave us the results, and we have to kind of explain what happened during the experiment. So both way works. My seniors had the recording and the interpreting data stuff, and they kind of like scored as well. So for us, it's more like practical. So the difference would be your practical skill will improve, meaning that you will have it hands on and experience it on your own to be compared with the seniors who actually just know it by theory and look at the experiment, what people did. Yeah, I think that would be the difference.
Thank you, Miss Alia, and thank you, students of engineering. So, for Mr. Omar, you are now a student. So, for this endemic phase, how do the university handle the subject that need practical at court? It's for
I'm sorry, would you mind to
law
repeat the
student.
question? It was a bit lagging.
Okay, I'm sorry. I repeat. Okay, for Mr. Omar. So students, right? So how do the students university handle the subject that need practical at the court?
Hello, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know whether it's my internet connections or I'm sorry. Would you mind if to repeat?
Oh, so since you're a law student, right? So the law students have to go to the
Okay.
court. So what did your university do when they have a subject that got involved in the court?
Okay. Okay. Now I got your question. Um. Okay. I think law students have been always associated with court, but for the first 3 years studying law here, it's yet to require us to go to the court. Even for the final year, we are yet to go to the court. However, there are some programs held by the organizations, societies that will that will bring the students to the court since to the court and um, to watch the court proceedings, to hear the trial proceedings. um, I think of how the university handled the students to go to the court and stuff. um, in university, I think most of the students in university in Malaysia or anywhere in the world, we are free to go anywhere within the curfew limit, right? So most of the students will go there by their own or even by the transport provided by the society or organization. As an example, there are some programs held before to KL Bar, to to the Palace of Justice in Putrajaya, and this trips I called it trips. These trips would actually cater the students for transportation. However, there would be some reservations made, such as who would want to join the transportations and who would not, who would go by themselves and stuff. So this most of this are handled by students themselves rather than the university itself. The university will only endorse transportations needed and submitted the report submitted by the students, by the organizations. So I think that's how they manage it.
Okay, Mr. Roma and Miss Alia. So, next question. We also hear from social media that there are quite a number of students that facing mental health issue right now. So, I'm afraid that it might be because of sudden phase changing from pandemic to endemic. So, I would like to ask both of you today, do you mind to share your opinions about those problems and how can prevent themselves from having those mental health problems? Mr. Roma. Mr. Roma.
I think is it the sudden fees or the sudden changes about everything?
Yeah, because it's obviously a transition that we never faced before. So a pandemic to endemic.
Yeah, so it's about everything, right, as a whole, rather than just the fees. I
Yeah.
heard fees just now, so I just want to reconfirm. Yeah, it's in general. I think I'm really interested in talking about mental health because pandemic has really affected so many people's mental health. Some of them even dropped their classes. Some of them, um, quit uh, studying in university. I think the way to cope with this mental health issues, firstly, is always to make sure to know your capability, to know your ability, to what extent can you adapt with the changes. And if you don't know at the primary level, if you don't know how to adapt if you don't know your ability, you don't know how to improve. Let's say, if you don't know, if you mm, if you are not capable of running here and there for physical to hybrid classes and to online classes, you have to run back to hostel and bring and sit in front of your laptop and listening to the lectures and then run back to the faculty for physical classes. Then it would always be convenient for you to have portable gadgets like iPads and stuff. This is to make sure that you're capable of attending the lectures, attending the classes um, conveniently. And of course, why I would suggest that is because when you get tired, then you won't be able to attend the class. You won't be able to be focused in the class. And when you can't focus throughout the whole class, so and what's the point of you attending the class after all? So um, I think another one would be to have the right circle with you. When you have a group of friends, when you have a group of people that would always support each other, that would always complement each other, like, I don't understand this, would you mind to explain? I don't understand that, would you mind to explain? That would actually reduce some of your stress, rather than you having to understand by your own, rather than having to listen to the 1 hour, 2 hours lectures over and over again. It would be always easy to have someone that would be able to explain and to understand your study phase. And of course, due to this pandemic, transitioning from pandemic to endemic phase, um, the most, I think, how should I say this? The most diagnosed part of mental health issues among students is social anxiety, because even some extrovert people, when they get into pandemic, um, they stay at home, their social skills, their social capabilities are being reduced, it decreases. So when they get back to campus, when they get back to physical classes, they get panic attacks, they get anxiety attacks. And I think rather than having all of this stuff alone, it's good to have someone that could understand you, that could be it no it doesn't matter to be your friend, to be your family members or stuff. um at least someone that you can tell to, rather than you having it by your own, rather than having the burden by your own and carry it along the way. And that's where you're going to get more um it's going to be something bad for you to keep here and here. I think, yeah, that's my POV. Alia.
I personally think, and I mean, I agree with you. And mental health, for me, it's the reason that affects our mental health is like biology, which is something that we can't control, environment and experience. Environment, so what the question mentioned about like how this whole pandemic has affected our mental health, and environment, which is the changing of the environment that make people mental health are deteriorating because of that. I think environment is not something that we can actually control, meaning that the people that we are around, we can't ask them to like change because of us. But what I could say is that acknowledging that something is bothering you, meaning that if that thing is hurting you, or like the feelings that you felt towards something, acknowledge that instead of running away from that feelings. And after acknowledging it, accept it, meaning that instead of like question why do I have to feel this way, we have to accept something. And how to prevent it would be handle our stress level, but that is somehow not possible, because if something causes stress, meaning that that's just how much it affects us, and it's impossible to kind of like say that let's not get affected by it anymore. It takes a lot of courage and then energy to actually do that. So what I would say is that, just like what Omar said, your own circle, but sometimes your own circle could be the problem. So I would say stay close to people who feel like sunshine, meaning that people who makes you feel warmth or like feel better. So stay close to those people instead of like thinking about what affects you, because mental health is something that you feel inside. Even if you express it, people won't understand it that much because only you that feels it. In terms of like experience, I have friends that experience like diagnose mental health issues. So what they did was like they go to therapy, they go to see the doctors, and if during pandemic it was so difficult because you can't meet them physically. So what they did was they do it online to actually talk to those what do people say? The doctors, psychiatrists. Yeah. So I asked her, okay, so if you go to psychiatry, what do those psychiatrists ask you or like talk to you about? Because I'm curious, like those doctors that actually help the people with mental health, what are the things that they talk about during those sessions? So she said for her session, what happened was that the psychiatrist somehow asked her question and instill the method how to eliminate negative thoughts. I don't know how she did that, but basically that's just how the session helped her. And right now I can see that she is happier, and every time she has those negative thoughts, she kind of like used the method that her psychiatrist taught her how to like eliminate those stuff, which is kind of cool for me because I never thought that it's something that you can learn or being taught. Yeah, so if it's really, really bad, seek for help. If it's on the level that's still handleable, I would say stay close to people who feels like sunshine, and then you have to start doing more of things that you like. If you kind of like lost interest in mostly everything, then maybe you should seek help. Yeah. If I were to be in that place, I would seek help as well. Yeah. That's all.
Okay, what I can conclude with both of you is find someone who willing to share or hear what's your problems and your current situation right now. So it's not your fault it's not your fault when you have someone to share, and I think it could be good for us to share and to solve our problem together. So, okay, this might be the last question before the next session. How should students balance their study life with other activities such as joining university club, college organization, or even sport during this endemic phase? For this question, we will go with the Miss Alia first.
Oh, sorry, is it me? Okay, the question just now, sorry.
How should students balance their study life with other activities such as joining university club, college organization? Miss Alia?
Omar would be the best person to answer this question. Okay, but for me, I don't really have much on my plate. Okay, I have quite a lot, but not that much. Okay, so what I did is it's kind of like the same thing, which is priority and the notion thingy management. But if I were to put on like give another point that might be helpful, is that acknowledge that this is what I learned from all those busyness, is that acknowledge that we as a person, as a teenager, we might want to do a lot of things, but I have to admit that I have limited energy, meaning that I don't have that much. I always want to give my 100% to everything and everyone. And after all those learning stages, I realized that that is not possible. And I learned it in a hard way, which is I have to start to learn to pick and choose instead of like do everything just because I wanted to. Because when I have no energy, instead of I put things together, everything starts to fall apart. Not only that, about the organization thingy and my studies, these two are are the topic that we are discussing about. But what will happen if like you fail to manage everything? Not only these two will be affected, your relationship with people. This is the core of everything, meaning that your studies, your relationship with your friends, your classmates, your teachers, and then about your organization, your relationship with your colleagues. And I would say how to manage this whole thing is have a good relationship with people who you are involving with, because you can always like tell them your problems and then they will actually do that instead of like giving you the work to do it. So I think having a good relationship is the core of everything. You don't have to be people pleaser, but you just have to maintain a good relationship with people so that things don't fall apart. Because if you have to handle everything alone, it will be so burdening for you. And having the people, your people, to support you throughout the way would be really helpful. And yeah, I think the right people will make you feel a lot of better. Yeah.
Okay, so let's hear from Mr. Omar itself. Mr. Omar, please.
I think Alia is also capable of talking about this. She's just shy, I guess. Um, I think my first advice would be don't spend so much time thinking. What I mean by this is that if it's not a real problem yet, some of the students they are they keep on thinking about should I do this or not? Should I do this or not? And at last they didn't try it at all. They didn't even attempt to do it. So it's something, it's they are lost, you know. Rather than thinking, you have to think, you have to decide whether you want to do it or not. If you don't want to do it, that's then move on. But if you want to do it, then just do it. Don't spend so much time of thinking, because it's yet to be a problem. After one problem, after deciding that you're going to do it, there will be another problem, like how and stuff, the challenges with it. So decide faster. I think that it's important to have good readings. I got this from an advice from someone, and also from a book that I read, which is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And now they have their latest edition, which is the 8th Habit. Um, the reason why they came out with the later edition, which is the 8th Habit. The 8th Habit was speed, the speed to do something, the speed to think, the speed to decide. Because if you don't have the speed, you're actually far left behind. So I think that's my first advice. My second advice would be time management, of course. You have to manage your time properly. However, I think I'm not the rightest person to talk about this, because I am an ad hoc person. I usually, some of my meetings are even in my car. When I was driving, I would be having my meetings. That's not a good example for people to take from. But I had my meetings when I was driving. I had my meetings when I was having my iftar. So I am an ad hoc person. But I think time management is is always important for you to, you know, to decide whether you should study or you should cooperate with something that you wanted to commit to. Thirdly, I think you have to be focused. This is one of my law faculty seniors advice given when I attend their talk. Um, they said, wanting to die, for as Muslims, when we want to die, we even have to be focused, which is we have to be focused of shahada. We have to be focused of remembering Allah. Then only we can get to Jannah. So something like nak mati pun you have to focus. What about living? So when you live, every second, every minute of your living, you have to be focused. So is lectures. When you attend lectures, um, just focus and just remind yourself that this 1 hour I'm going to focus, and that's all. I don't even have to listen to the recordings anymore. I don't even have to do anything after that. So um, I think being focused is the right thing. Even you attend meetings with your friends, or with your colleagues, acquaintance, be focused in that meeting. Don't be after that meeting, you ask your friends or your acquaintance like, um, I'm sorry, I have a question, blah, 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 blah. If you have a question, ask the question right away, rather than having it on hold and ask and blast it after the meeting. It's so time consuming, it's so tiring, and it's not good. It's not focused. So I think those are the 3 things that I think how to balance your academic and um, extra activities. And yeah, that's all.
Thank you very much to Mr. Omar Karyum and Ms. Ala Batisha for the informative and interesting sharing just now, which I believe will be useful for all of us to implement in the future. Dear audience, time is just running out for all of us. Hence, I hope the audience would remember the crucial point mentioned by the panels in order to stay survive during the endemic phase. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the last session of the forum, which is the Q&A session. If you have any question, you may express your curiosity by typing them in the live chat section. Actually, we already have a few questions coming in. Would you guys mind if I read out the question for you, Mr. Omar Koyum and Ms. Ada Batrisha? Alright, so the first question from Wan Muhammad Haikal bin Wan Adeline. In Malaysia, there is a large segment of the population that is computer illiterate. Do you think the effort to provide accessibility should be stopped when we are reverting back to conventional way? I think, Mr. Omar, can you answer the question?
Yes, sure. Um, I think, okay, from the question itself, I think like it's um it's not good for us to stop um how should I say this? It's the effort to provide accessibility is effort to provide all these technological informations to these people should not be stopped. What was my sentence? I'm so sorry. Um, I think like the effort should not be stopped. Yeah, basically that's it. It's and that's the reason why I think hybrid classes are important because it will continue the effort to provide this accessibilities, this knowledge of this IT, this cyber knowledge to the people. How would some people know the existence of Google Classroom? Even me myself, I don't know about Google Classroom before pandemic ever existed. I knew it when when I went through pandemic and suddenly my lecturers posted the Google Classroom links in the WhatsApp group. So I was like, oh, this is the thing. This is the new thing. So time by time, I didn't know there's a Google Meet before pandemic. I don't know whether I am one of the um computer illiterate population meant by one, but I think this effort should not be stopped because people can continue learning about modern approach, modern technologies, and the world is evolving. There are more things coming, and this effort should not be stopped. Yeah.
So, Miss Alia, if you don't mind, you can share your opinion regarding the previous question.
I agree with what Omar said, which is he doesn't think that we should stop because pandemic is for us. Um, we are still with hybrid, even if we convert it to the conventional way. There will still be nothing wrong with proceeding with whatever accessibility effort that the government has put in for that. And doing that, I don't think that anyone will actually have disadvantage over that. More people will actually gain benefits, and by having more computer literate people, we actually increasing the what do we call it in English? The kebolehpasaran mahasiswa yeah, about that. That is very important. We should to be literate. Computer literate. Yeah, that's all.
All right, thank you, Mr. Omar and Miss Alia. For the next question. Okay, from Nisa Mahaya. Do you find that pandemic actually give positive impact to the students? In what kind of way? I think Miss Alia, can you share your opinion about this?
Yeah, so we are going to look at the bright side of the pandemic. To be honest, for me, pandemic has the benefit of the pandemic is that we all are back to our families. At least most of us. Some of the people might stuck in the campus. They can't really move anywhere, but most of us are with our families, and I think that was I spent a lot of time with my parents. The most time with my parents during pandemic because before this everyone will be busy with their own things. My parents are busy with work, so they don't really have time at home. Even if they're at home, they will be resting. But during pandemic, we just have to talk to each other every day. We have to eat with each other every day. And I understand that not everyone experience the same family experience. So apart from that, I think the benefit would be we okay, I shouldn't bring up that point. It's just that to make us realize that how much we are behind in the computer literacy part, especially in Malaysia. How much of us, if we really want Malaysia to actually improve, how much of us are literate about computer? And this pandemic has made the government more aware about this issue, and they put in a lot of effort to actually make computer literacy a thing for everyone. So all these efforts would be the benefit that students gain, which is a lot of funds have been given to the universities to provide equipment for students to actually cope with the pandemic situation. So I think those are the benefits. Yeah, and then for the students, we can take our time to actually, I would say, for me, because of pandemic, I did not have to sit for my exams. And for me, my studies kind of like go haywire from there. But other than that, I started to actually explore myself, meaning that things that I really want to learn, things that I don't really want to learn. I would say it was a journey for me to get to know myself, because everything was so under pressure and stress during those time, and you spend more time with yourself. Yeah.
Alright, thank you, Miss Alia. So, for the next question, I guess, from Nurul Ashikin, what new student should prepare for further studying during academic? So, I will bring the question to Mr. Omar, please.
I think there's nothing much of difference from preparing yourself to enter into normal classes, but endemic classes are much more um, ad hoc, I guess. Some lectures, like if they had sudden traffic jam, they would call the classes to be held online rather than physical. So you have to prepare everything on the spot and enter the Google Meet and or some Zoom calls, and then just study. But I think that's the preparation needed, is that you have to be more flexible to attend the classes. And I think it's mainly about your mental well-being, because this ad hoc situation would definitely cause some sort of stressness to you, because um, everything's everything's are ad hoc. You know, some meetings they can call for sudden meetings, they can call for an emergency meetings, and suddenly some people cannot attend, and everything that you have to plan, you have to be so flexible, even to decide an event, because I think Alia would also be um, Alia would be familiar with the situation. To decide an event to be online or physical, you have to make sure that all the stakeholders, or all the panels, the moderators are all can attend the event on that day physically or through online. So I think being a new student during this endemic is more to your flexibility and your mental take care of your mental health um, as much as you take care of your physical health, I think. So that's my advice about preparation.
Okay, so Miss Alia, if you don't mind, what the new student should prepare for further studying overseas? What's your opinions or what's your tips for the new student who willing or who wish and have intention to further their study at the University of College London or somewhere in overseas?
It's an interesting question because you specify it to overseas. So what I would say is that furthering studies overseas require a lot of, how do you say, mental preparation. Because during my first few months in London, I struggled a lot in terms of that. And when you ask seniors, they would say about the physical preparation, what to bring, what not to bring, what to do in terms of academic, but they don't mention about how lonely London can be, and they don't mention about how you will struggle with mental health, because it is a problem among us, but it's not something that we talk about. Everyone admits that they somehow feel it, but they just don't bring that up. And what I would say is that ever since I was in high school, like since I was a kid, I didn't go to any boarding school. So, and the first time I was away from my family is like so far away in London. So, firstly, would be do not, um, when you feel the homesickness, if you were to study overseas, do not run away from it. Admit it and call your family. Because it's like running away from your feelings will not help. And in terms of preparation to study overseas would be understand your modules. To be honest, when I first go into uni, I don't really bother to actually look at the modules. And without those mental preparation, when I attend the classes, I don't really feel the excitement. So to be compared with my friends who actually prepare for it, they actually go dive into, okay, in these modules we will learn this, we will have workshop classes, like fully understand it and maximize whatever that lecturer has provided to us. They have reading lists and stuff like that, which uni is so different than A level. You have a lot of independent learning to do, independent reading. Even if engineering, we have a lot of independent reading to do. And you can see the difference between people who did all those additional reading, to be compared with people who don't. So I would say understand your module will help you to prepare mentally. Other than that is that having an open mindset in terms of like socializing with other people, because here people are very open in terms of expressing what they think, and the way they talk is very, very opinionated. So if you happen to have circle of friends that is like that, you have to be able to actually know how to handle it. You don't have to try to fit in, but you have to try to socialize, because when you study overseas, um other than like learning about the academic content overseas, you would want to have like international friends. And to have international friends, you have to be able to handle the friendship very well, because the way they converse, the joke that they talk about are not the same with us. And the background, the way they were brought out are so different than us. And my advice would be embrace the differences and diversify backgrounds. And most importantly is get to know yourself. Before you study overseas, you think that it's going to be the same, stuff like that. It's not. And my mistake was that I'm a type of person that is neutral towards most of the things. And I don't really know what I like and what I don't. So when I come to UK, I just go with the flow with everything. But by doing that, I'm missing out on something, which is a sense of fulfillment, a sense of content with what I'm doing. Because I don't even know if I like it. I do it because I have to do it. So my advice is that get to know what you like. If you like, it doesn't have to be a very complicated things. Oh, I like coding. No, it's a simple thing like, oh, I like to eat this. I like to eat that. Or maybe I like to play at the playgrounds. I like to play swings. And your hobbies that you want to keep up until when you're here, new things that you want to try out. And other than that, most importantly for new students, if you want to prepare for the study abroad, learn how to cook. Because when you're abroad, you're gonna have a lot of cravings, and if you know how to cook, that will help a lot in terms of settling down abroad. Yeah, if not, you're gonna repeat on the same menu over and over again. Yeah, so learn how to cook is a very crucial skill. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you, Miss Alia. So I think it will be the last question for today from the audience. From Raja Shafira, I have a question. Do you think education sector should fully implement physical classes again, as we don't know if COVID cases could get worse than before the pandemic? So, Mr. Omar.
This is a so serious question. I think like the education sector um, should implement physical classes again, but not in the near future. Maybe, let the phase, we go by the flow. Let the endemic phase for certain for for a few months, then maybe we can start our physical classes again. As this endemic phase, this transitioning is actually important, like I said, to cater the worries of the people, not only for the students concerned, but also their parents concerned and stuff. And talking about education sector is not only about universities, about tertiary education levels, but it also includes secondary schools, it includes primary schools, which um, looking at the um, bigger perspective, how to handle the kids, how to handle the primary school students from transgressing the SOP being set and stuff. So all of this matters should be also viewed by the education sector before implementing physical class all over again. But aside from that, I think like the cost is also important because it was so uncertain back then when the education sector wanted things to be physical and then online back and then physical. Some parents bought their children's their kids clothes, school attires, and it's a waste when they don't use it, when they don't um, wear it to school. So if education sector really want to implement physical classes, it should be definite and certain. It should not be something something ad hoc and uncertain. Yeah, I think that's my answer.
Miss Alia, how about you?
I think my points are like similar with Omar, which is realistically speaking, to shift from what we have right now to a fully physical class would be another drastic change that will happen, and which will induce more stress among even the educators, among the students. So with what is happening currently in China, which is it seems like the pandemic is kind of like restarting all over again. I think it's the best way for us to approach this is to maintain the hybridness. Even if you want to go physical, you need have to be prepared with the possibility of going online again. And if it's possible, we should not shift directly drastically to all physical classes, because even the students have to prepare themselves for everything, and not everyone is privileged enough to be able to afford the drastic physical changes. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Omar and Miss Alia, for your answer. With the last question, it's conclude the Q&A session, and therefore our forum today has reached its end. Sorry for those questions that cannot be answered. So, Mr. Omar, for you and Miss Alia Batisha, thank you so much for your answer and for sharing your knowledge with us today. We have learned so much from both of you today, and we would like to thank everyone who participated in today's forum as well. For your information, we have prepared a survey regarding student sharing, which will be given in the live chat section later, and QR code will be displayed at the end of this live session. So, I would like to ask everyone cooperation to to fill in the feedback form as it will be counted as the attendance form. I hope you enjoy and receive a lot of knowledge from the forum just now. Looking for our more College Melati activities in the future. Besides, we greatly appreciate if you could follow us on social media at College Melati to learn more about College Melati and our upcoming activity. Thus, we ended our forum today with Tasbih Kifara and Surah Al-As. I would also like to apologize for any shortcomings or flaw occur during this event, and thank you again for joining us. Again, thank you so much, Mr. Omar and Miss Alia, for making this forum session fun and informative. Until then, have a great day, everyone.